been a long, cold, hard crypto winter. And how has that affected the market? Last year, on this stage, I presented this slide. And things has happened. Last year, it was 42 companies. Some have failed. Parsec failed their ICO. Some have succeeded, like Igon. Some have been acquired, like Artplant, going to Sweden. We acquired Sky, which is now EY Sky. And things have happened within the mining industry as well. So, how's the market looking now? Increasing? Decreasing? This is the market overview currently today. And yesterday at the speaker's dinner, I was criticized by Jon Ramme himself that, well, Magnus, you just include everything, companies and projects and whatever. Yes. And Jon, I've included both Blockchangers and Oslo Blockchain there today for you guys, so I hope you will let me in at the after party afterwards anyway. But still, this is not a math thing. It's rather stakeholders that are into the industry to give you guys an overview of it. So it means that we see a huge increase here in the various section, while, for example, a decrease here. It doesn't mean that all of these guys failed. They've just finished their ICO, so they're over in this box here instead. And we also see here up at the mining section, due to the electricity issue that we had in Norway, we should presumably suppose that all of them had left. Well, to my knowledge, it's only a couple of them, including Bitmain. But all of these are still remaining here. We're not going into this discussion now, but it's just food for thought. So as you can see here, it has been growing, definitely. So in total, 28 new stakeholders this year. Does this mean that everything is solved now? We don't have any more regulatory challenges, everything is working with the banks, etc.? No, we still have quite a huge jigsaw of a puzzle to sort out. Because when it comes to bank accounts, how are we dealing there? Is it possible to go to the bank today and ask for a bank account? No. What is the main reason? One, they are not understanding what they're touching upon. And two, they are waiting for a court case. Sturle Bitmynt has placed a court case against Nordea. And that case is coming up in the Court of Appeal in December. While his lawyer, he's been kind of smart, because he presumably now understood that, well, at the moment when he sued Nordea, his KYC was not proven good enough. So he has then instead sued another bank now, placed a new lawsuit, and that case is presumably going to come up in the district court before the other case, based upon other criteria, which will make precedents for that other case. So presumable we could have indication towards the banking industry even before December, but that is one challenge that we clearly see. So how is all these companies? They are not running a business in Norway without a bank account, apparently. That's for sure. So it's possible to get a bank account in Norway if you know some persons. So unofficially, the benchmark is if you have transactions with below 2 million and are within this industry, they are fine with it if you have a connection towards the bank. But not officially. And the fact that most of the companies on that list are using fiat, not crypto transactions, hence why they can operate here. But still, there's no clarity towards this. And then what about invoicing? Is this happening? Yes, we have clients who is invoicing, either in Ether or USDC or whatever. How to treat this from a tax point of view, how to get the money into the bank, how to exchange it, etc. Contracts these days aren't signed by a good old traditional contract. The contract is on Telegram and the payment is on Ether, and it's developed in Bangalore or Argentina or wherever in the world. And that's small amounts, 50 to 200,000 Norwegian crowns. If you have a relation towards the bank, they are quietly accepting it. If you reach a certain level, they will not. But they are not totally sure where to reach that level. And also this one. These are just 3 of the main topics that we see challenges on. Accounting. Why haven't we heard any challenges there? Because the tax authorities has not performed any controls. Because they de facto don't know how to control it. That's why everything has turned out fine. Yeah, we do our accounting. We trust our bookkeeper. But we're not totally sure how to deal with it. We at EY and PwC, lots of other players out in the market has created guides like this. We have a presentation on how we're supposed to do the filing, but we cannot guarantee you from the authorities' point of view that they will agree to it. So hence, we need more clarity there from these people. And also, don't remember this one, transactions. Either if you are into this from a trading point of view, or if you are into this from a hardcore business R&D point of view, and you're dealing with crypto transactions, keep track on them. Each event, when you go from one place to a new wallet, is a taxable event. A lot of people tend to forget that. They only think about going in, going out, not what has happened in the middle. When the tax authorities will perform controls, and they will, possibly this year, then this issue will arise, and it doesn't matter if you are a small private entity person or a large entity, they will track you down on this one, just on the principles. So, why can't we sort of sort out these things? Because of this cliche and this fact. And you can't blame them. I'm very happy that I don't have the job that the authorities has to figure out the landscape within this area. Because even the ones of us that are in this industry are struggling a lot, and we have spent a lot of time on figuring out how to treat, for example, your accounting and other stuff within this landscape. But still, people keep shouting for regulations. Core regulation on specific areas. And I don't believe that we can sort of make one glow that every hand will fit into. I believe we should be a little bit more agnostic towards it. Think about this one. When they wrote that legislation 6-7 years ago, did anyone think about this? Or what about this? Last year, everyone was shouting, if we don't get a regulation on ICO, the whole economy is going to stop. It's only criminal and bandits. Shut it down. We need regulations. What happened? Well, they tried their best. In August, the European Parliament had a draft for a regulation for crowdfunding and ICOs. And the intention was good, to protect the consumer, to make a register, receive a license for register, and also this one, the entry knowledge test. This is the best one. It was, all companies within this industry was supposed to be required to have a questionnaire on their site. So we had to answer questions before you were able to access the website. And if you answered all of these or a majority of these questions wrong, you ended up in the end saying, sorry, Mac, you're too stupid to buy this product. We can't allow you. Try again. And that's a good intention. But no one at the European Parliament or the Commission or the Blockchain Observatory Forum that I spoke to could tell me how they were going to put that into practice. Because it's too difficult. So, instead, they couldn't figure this one out. They released a new report in, I believe it was 9th of November. And there they took the ICO part out. They accepted the crowdfunding because it was too complicated, too complex. So, no regulations on ICO. And that could be a good part as well, because think about it. If we had to introduce this regulation, all member states would have had 18 months to implement it. We would always be 2 years behind the technology. Because in August, when people were shouting for the regulation stuff there, did anyone think about this? IEOs, initial exchange offerings. Same shit, new wrapping, yes, but still different enough to be something else that it wasn't covered by the proposal in the regulations there. New things will develop continuously. It will come up with new things all the time. You cannot write a legislation where you specify down to this is going to be A, B, or C. It will never work. So I believe, as you understand, that if you are to have a core law or a legislation or a regulation, it has to be technology neutral. And I've said this for many years, and luckily now, ESMA, the European Securities and Market Authority, they are backing me. In a new report from January saying, we consider it important to take a technology-neutral approach to ensure that similar activities and assets are subject to the same or very similar standards regardless of their form. So I believe that we should have regulation in place that covers it, but it should be not specified down to one specific part of this. Instead, we should, in order to solve this puzzle, have guidance and advice, like a lot of key players now are doing, like the ESMA, a guidance on ICOs and crypto assets, the European Banking Associations, the OECD, and also the authorities in the UK. But the best thing here that I've seen is from the Central Bank of Lithuania. They have just this piece of paper saying, this is covering ICOs. This is the regulation. We have had IEOs now. It's updated. Two pages of paper. That's enough. It's easier for them in Lithuania because the central bank is the central bank, the supervisory authority, together in one role. But still, it's possible to do this. We don't need necessarily to have extensive, comprehensive regulation that takes years to implement. We need to be hands-on onto the time. Yes, we need guidance in order to understand where to move, so we have a direction, so we don't have a case handler at the tax authority that says one thing and the other one says the total opposite thing. Of course. But I believe that the most important thing that we can do in order to get there, because it's not so easy to just say, yeah, just write an advice if you don't have the knowledge. These guys, they have the knowledge. Switzerland, Germany, Austria specifically, they have great knowledge on this. But I think the key thing here is that we need to ensure that they get education. They need to understand this crypto landscape, how these rockets are flying to the moon or not, how they're working. So we as stakeholders, we need to go into this from a different point of view, I believe. We have to stop talking about blockchain as a silver bullet and make things so difficult. Blockchain is going to disappear. Not the technology, but the way that we talk about it. In the same way as we don't talk about, oh, we're having a cloud solution today. We're not doing this. It's going to be the same way about blockchain in 3 years. It's going to be mainstream. So we need to figure out, don't talk about cryptocurrencies, crypto assets, digital assets, virtual currencies, virtual assets, when they're talking about different things. In all of these reports, they're writing different words and they believe they mean the same thing. But it's not. Is it a utility token, is it a security, or is it a hybrid, or is it a payment token? What do you mean? We need to clarify this and make things more easy. And it's down to us, because we all want to be so special. We want to be the special one, saying, my Ethereum is much better than your EOS protocol. We need to be a more hands-on, down-to-earth there to make these guys understand what we're talking about. Otherwise, they will just be confused and say, we don't understand. Nothing is going to happen there. It's down to us in the industry that has to do something here. Because today, it's too confusing, even for us in the industry. But still, it's down to this education thing. Because at the moment, do we have an unregulated space out there that you can actually do whatever you want because we don't have regulations in place? No. We have a bunch of applicable laws. If you are doing fraud, yes, we have laws in Norway and UK and whatever country that are taking care of fraud, but you need to how to consider the fraud. You have to be able to treat a thing. What is this token? What's in this glass? If you're able to classify it, it's easy. We have applicable laws. Yes, on some areas, I totally agree, we need guidance on this. We need clearance, of course. But in the whole general, we have already applicable laws. So, I think the key message here for now in Norway is rather that what we have previously done is that we have waited for the EU. Like all countries almost in the world, they're saying, well, if EU says something, we will have to adapt to it, so we'll just wait. We don't spend any resource or money on doing this. And the Financial Supervisory Authority in Norway, they've been open on it. We have worked together with them on workshops for the Directorate of Taxes, etc., behind closed walls, and also publicly they say, well, we have to wait and do whatever EU says, so we will not make any too much attention to this. So they are just claiming, well, we understand this because we take a blueprint copy-paste from the warnings that ESMA issue, and that's what about they do. So everyone points in a direction towards the European Commission, and the European Commission points towards their Blockchain Observatory Forum. And that's a great working group, but they need time. It's not that easy. So I think Norway, Norwegian legislators, and all stakeholders into this community need to wake up and understand we're not going to get any core regulation that will say A to Z what we are to do and how to treat this within the near future. Definitely not. So we have to sit down and figure out how do we want this to be in Norway. And it's all down to ordinary tax laws. Yes, we have frameworks in the world today, but we have different bookkeeping acts, different bookkeeping laws from country to country. So we should definitely sit down and think about how we want this to work in Norway based upon our principles. And if so, the EU says something in the end in 2 years' time, yes, then we might adapt to it. But we cannot risk and see that the market is growing by 30, 40, 50% each year in this industry, and we have this unpredictability going on. By saying, well, everything appears to be fine, just because we're not performing any controls. But after 5 years, we'll go back in time and open up and make a hell of a noise and a mess in the market. We cannot accept this one. So we need to wake up and understand that we have to focus here on Norway, like up in Lofoten, and look what we are going to do here within our mountains and fjords. Not look over to the EU. We will have to watch them closely, but this thing has to be dealt with from Norway. So, when it comes to other things on the regulatory side, we don't have time to go in detail from country to country, but countries like Italy, San Marino, they have tried to introduce regulations, as some of you might have heard, but it's just high-level framework. It doesn't give you any core guidance on things. It's nothing more specified down to this is not the solution that we can blueprint from. So, back to it, we need to figure this one out ourselves. So if you guys are interested to read any reports that I mentioned or anything else, we at EY, we have a bunch of reports. Just send an email to me, and I'm more than happy to share. Also, we have a new one from the University of Cambridge, which is really exciting. So this one are a bit more than just 4 pages. These are 100 pages, if you would like. And if you'd like to be updated on the area, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, where I am trying to keep up with all the regulatory stuff that is moving on, but not only the regulatory ones, as we at EY Sky, we are also doing technical implementations and tax solutions. So, by that, I say thank you so much for your attention. Do we have time for a question?
Yeah, we have time for questions. So if anyone has any questions, we would like to open the stage for the audience to ask questions. Do we have a microphone? If someone can go, someone from the back, maybe? Perfect.
Great, thank you. Matt Stobler-Larsen, Trade Shift. Key question here. Dealing with this in Norway, to me, sounds like a too small community. Why not Scandinavia?
Sure, we can do Nordics, but I believe that it's down to too many chefs, etc. It will be too time-consuming at the moment. In Norway, not many people knows this from the outside, neither the media, but at the authorities, we have people who are really skilled. They've been in this industry since 2012-13, looking into things. So, but they officially don't exist because they are tagged as IT persons, etc. So we have the knowledge among them, but we need to convince the decision takers higher up in the system that this is something that we need to look into. That's the challenge, not the competence itself. So I'm happy to join you if you are reaching out from a Nordic point of view, of course. But I believe that will be too much of an organization thing as a start. But it's a good idea, definitely.